Hey everyone, it's Shotzi for the Rough Cuts. It really is Sunday. Right now, I hope this records. This is like the fourth time that I've recorded this. I recorded this originally on Thursday, so I won't have to worry about this on my birthday, but Mac has bested me once again and completely erased my review 4 times. No, 3 times. This is the fourth time I've done this. So, hopefully this will actually stay, so I'll have something to show you. The film I saw is a very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas. Many of you who are fans of the franchise will not be disappointed with this third installment of that series. It's starring the same guys. You've got John Cho as Harold, Kal Penn as Kumar, Neil Patrick Harris, of course, as himself. And it does not disappoint as far as stoner movies go. Now, for this particular film, you have a different director. Todd Strauss Schulson directed this one, and he did a pretty good job. This is his first feature-length film. Prior to this, he did mainly shorts. But he does not disappoint with this movie. If you're a fan of the stoner genre, you're going to love this. It's also a pretty decent Christmas story. It's corny, yes, but it's pretty decent, especially as far as Christmas stories go. You also have a lot of cameos that are in this film. The premise of the story: Harold and Kumar have not spoken to each other for 2 years. You've got Harold, who's a successful businessman on Wall Street. You open up with him being protested by people outside of his window. This was actually shot 2 years ago, and so it just so happens that people are still protesting. So that's purely coincidental in the film compared to now. And then you also have Kumar, who hasn't changed at all except for the downhill spiral in which he has found himself. He's still in the same apartment that he and Harold lived in. And it seems as though he hasn't cleaned that apartment since Harold moved out. His girlfriend has left him. He's flunked out of med school. He just pretty much has no future ahead of him, just living in squalor. He has found a new best friend, who is Adrian, played by Amir Blumenfeld. Those of you who are fans of College Humor will recognize him. And also, Harold has found a new best friend, Todd, who's kind of he's not a loser, but he's a real pushover, doormat, overly nice guy, and he's played brilliantly by Thomas Lennon. So fans of The State, as well as pretty much every other show he's made an appearance in it at some point in time, you'll recognize him. So one day, Kumar is at home and he gets a package at the door. It's for Harold. So he's like, oh my gosh, I guess I have to take this over there, even though I haven't seen him in such a long time. So he takes his package over to Harold's humongous house, leaves it there, slips, falls, and Harold hears him and he invites him inside. Now, it's awkward at first. Kumar is very impressed with Harold's house, and he decides to make himself comfortable. Anyway, of course, things go wrong, because every time they get together, things inevitably go wrong. In this case, you have the Christmas tree that Maria's father has brought over, and he's been growing this tree for the last 8 years. He's very attached to it. He's very attached to Christmas because Korean gangsters killed his mother on Christmas, and so now Christmas is extremely important to him, and this tree symbolizes everything. So the tree gets destroyed, and that brings us to the beginning of our journey of how Harold and Kumar set out to find a new Christmas tree and a perfect Christmas. Maria's dad is played by Danny Trejo, who is pretty intimidating in this. You know, he's got all his tattoos and everything. He looks scary, but he is just awesome in this, just like he's awesome in everything. Their journey for the perfect tree brings you everything. There are drugs in this, of course, but it goes beyond cocaine. I mean, it does go beyond cocaine. There are drugs in this. There are show tunes. 3D, of course. There are eggs, Ukrainian gangsters, There is blood, gore, and murder, so this is not Adam safe. There is full frontal nudity, claymation by Leica. They brought you Coraline. And it gets crazy. It's a crazy, out there movie. I prefer this to the second one. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but I think it's miles better than the second one. It's a lot of fun. It's raunchy. This is really, really raunchy. Q&A afterwards was hilarious. And actually, Amir Blumenfeld and Todd Strauss-Jolson, they shared some of the little, like, just background info while filming this. There is a scene in there, the protesting scene. It has John Cho and also Bobby Lee. And they're leaving the office, and protesters are throwing eggs. This is one of the scenes where it really implements the 3D technology. And also this was shot for 3D, so it wasn't 2D converted, it was shot for 3D. And the crew developed this like egg Gatling gun that was supposed to shoot eggs really quickly in succession, but instead it just shot like 24 eggs at once. When those hit Bobby Lee, it actually ended up either cracking or bruising one of his ribs. So it's intense. So there's an intense egg scene in this. And then also there's a baby. There's a baby involved in this movie. And when they were filming it, they actually used triplets for the baby because they thought, oh, well, if we can't use one of them, we have two that are backups. That didn't happen because if one got upset, then all three of them were upset and screaming, and they got upset a whole lot, so they had to implement the help of a baby whisperer who did a really great job, and she was able to do a lot of tricks with the baby, and so it's hilarious. It adds in a completely different dimension to this film, and so it was totally worth it in the end, all the trouble that the baby brought, because she's just great. They're just great in this. So it's a lot of fun. Go see this movie. If you're into like raunchy humor, stoner films, I can't talk. Christmas films, you'll really like this. If you're not, then you'll probably absolutely hate this movie. Also, this explains why Neil Patrick Harris is back in this one, when he was seemingly killed in the second one, especially if you didn't stay until after the credits of the second one. This explains all of that. And there's nothing that comes after the credits of this one, so you can just kind of go when the movie's over. But I will see you all next week. I hope you have a very happy and safe Halloween, and I will see you next time. This opens November 4th in theaters across the nation. I will see you next time. Goodbye.